Friday, May 17th. Hopefully all of you had fun celebrating Percy Appreciation Day.
Percy Day!
And went home and picked up a wiener dog and threw it around in celebration.
I did that. I did that.
Dogs are out.
Whoa, it's toes!
It is. That's what the dogs are out.
Why are you can't disrespect me like that. You have to have like 15 days of mourning or like rest.
Hey, that was fire.
I do. I start every day with morning. And then I get to afternoon, and then I get to...
You're so funny!
Oh, so
What do you mean? Yes, I saw it.
No, you're not.
What size do you wear, Alex?
What?
Mr. Brovicast, what suit size do you wear?
I'm a 10.
10 and a half.
That's a
Then
Crawford size. That's a Crawford size.
My
Yeah, Crawford's
goal
looking
is
like his dog.
Monday, Tuesday of next week.
Can I say
And
big
then
Your dog is.
you can keep going after that. Apparently we're a little wound up on
You
Friday.
diss Percy.
Um,
He is long.
So, with Princess, if you have questions, I'll take them here in just a moment. But Monday, I will be going over ending bits of book, but not really doing spoilers unless you have questions. I am going to be talking about how the book connects to things, why I chose it. We're going to talk a little bit about my teaching on Monday and stuff like that. I'll sort of connect. And then Tuesday's final test. Again, if you need more time to read, you're welcome to it. You have the whole rest of the week to then actually turn in tests. It's just that to get an A, it has to be on Tuesday, but you can still get up to a B+. So hopefully that helps somewhat throughout the whole rest of the week from there. Josie.
We have 2 teams, so what is it?
Probably just one. That's what I'm looking at again now from there. And I think I'm aiming at around 35 questions, and I'm going to try to do a review guide crossword puzzle on Monday. So those of you who want it and want to do like a little review guide, it'll give you a chance for 2 things, extra credit or extra B points. I mean, given it's not going to be till Monday going into Tuesday, but it will be an option if you guys want it, or you can skip it, or you can rate it.
Oh, so can we do the test at home on Tuesday and still get an A?
You have to be done by the end of class to
You
get
said
the A.
on Tuesday.
Correct, in
Wait,
class
which
on
one?
Tuesday. Again, my goal on that is to get an A. You have to be one of those strong readers who can get it done in time. And then I figure if not, you can still get up to the B, but it's gonna go to our conversation I'm gonna try and do here in a moment. Kid giving me stink eye. Hi, Kyle.
Is the triplet for the test or just
It goes on the test. I mean, if you want me to move it to the homework and usually I just put it straight into the test grade. I usually try to be a little bit nice to people. Was that the same questions? I knocked out a whole bunch of them. Matthew?
So the last page of the book was supposed to be 258.
Sounds right. It's when actual Princess Bride ends, and not when you get to like the epilogue thing. It's like when you get to the other parts about Stephen King and stuff like that. No. I mean, you can if you want to. It helps.
It's not going to be on the test.
I don't think so. I don't believe so. Yes.
So can you show us like what we got on the test? Because
Yeah.
Because at that point I want to see if I got anything.
At that point, anytime you email me, it's just every time email me, and I will be happy to email back and answer questions like that. If you go like, which ones did I get wrong? I'm more than happy to email back and be like, this one, stuff like that. Happy to help. Alex?
Are you doing any grammar questions on the test? Alright.
I only do grammar on quizzes. Tests are just the focus of that. So you can don't worry about that as much. Yeah, you're technically done with grammar for me because we only have 1 grade left, which is Tuesday's test, and there's no grammar on it. What else?
Can you also post like the test that you have from last year?
I think so. I will do my best to remember that, and I should be able to. I think I have an old test I can do on that. Crawford.
So about grammar. You said after we did the little grammar test we wouldn't need to do any more grammar.
No, I said you already know grammar. So
you,
we're
said
not.
you said you would take it off like quizzes and stuff. And
Yeah,
then
you did.
Yeah, you did.
Well, if you can find a video of me saying that, then I'd be more than happy to apologize to all of you. But if you can't find a video of
Are you
that,
gonna fix our grade?
no.
For all the grammar questions we missed.
I think we should give us
Because one, you shouldn't be missing grammar
Arena,
questions
look.
because you were all flexy about the fact that you did well on that quiz.
I
know.
Which is your proof that you knew grammar.
I
So,
don't think I missed it.
you
But
should be fine.
Well,
I'll
I
give
think
you
I should
back
get
all the
extra
questions you never missed. I read.
Hey, is the pit of
Exactly.
despair in the
compensation for lying.
I think so.
I don't even see it, bro.
Let's see. Let me do a quick quick check. Pit of Despair. Oh no, because it would be over in 4. No, because it's in the Zoo of Death. So Zoo of Death is in there, but the Pit of Despair is on level 5. So you can't put the Pit of Despair there. You'd have to go to Zoo of Death. Zoo of Death is on there. Do you see Zoo of Death?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Pit of Despair is at the bottom of that.
Oh, well, like underground.
That's how the bottom works.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Alright. So, for today, you have 2 options. I'm fine with either one. If you are wanting to read because of time-wise and you know how much time it's going to take you to read, if you want to tune me out today with the conversation I want to have, I am fine with that. If you need to put in headphones because you find my voice a little distracting, that's fine with me as long as you can focus as I'm going through. My only request will be that if you have headphones in, that you're actually reading and not just like sitting there rocking out to your newest JoJo Siwa. Or you're more than welcome with my conversation today. It might be a lot of listening on your end, or it might be you guys participating. I'm predicting it's talking on my end for the first part, and then maybe talking on your guys' part for
Then I'm just making me mad.
So, we'll see. Also, I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. This is not a conversation I've ever done before. A lot of times, conversations I've sort of done over the years, and this is a new-ish one I'm trying. It's thoughts that have been sitting in my head for the last couple weeks, and I wanted to sort of put them out there and sort of see what your thinking is. So, here's thinking that I have that I want to share with you guys over conversations we've been having. My goal as a teacher is to prepare you guys down the line. I'm well aware that at 13-ish, you guys aren't thinking about yourselves at 16, 19, 20, so on, but I have a lot of kids who come back and talk to me. I have 8th graders who come and talk to me. I have high schoolers, I have college kids who come back and talk to me. And I see you guys, and I want you to be happy later in life. And so a lot of how I teach in my room is not aimed at now. It's aimed at your future and trying to get you to that future place. And I also think that I was never told this as a kid, is that school's not important. Most of the material you learn in school is not important to you. As far as most of what I teach you in English is not going to help you later in life. Most of math and science is not going to help you later in life. Your goal in learning these things is not the individual subject matters. I honestly don't think school should be about homework or grades or the subject matter that's in there. What my goal is, and what I think teachers' goals should be, is getting you guys ready for future you. And a lot of what future you needs is problem solving. How is it you... Mildly distracting.
Sorry.
Trying to get you guys ready for future versions of you. And a lot of that comes down to 2 big areas. He's crushing it. That's
This
fine.
kid be quiet, bro. Like, boot him out of the class.
Is both problem solving and
Be a
responsibility.
little louder. I didn't hear you the first time.
That's correct. I'll give you a second to finish.
Do it.
Can I actually do it?
I'm going to charge you points, but it's
How
up to
many?
you.
How many?
I'm only one way to find out.
I'm guessing 3 points.
Let's find out.
Should I do it?
Do it.
Do it.
All I know is the longer you keep distracting my class, the more points is going to end up... Oh, you're done. Okay.
He's talking about responsibility right now. You cannot seriously think that was a good idea.
See the irony of this whole thing?
Way to solve his problem.
So, is responsibility and problem solving. Whatever job you guys go into, whether it is going to be doctor, lawyer, rapper, NFL star,
Well,
whatever job, welder,
sorry?
it's going to be,
I said
you are
welder.
going to have struggles that you have to overcome. The job of school is to give you struggles and challenges for you to overcome. Math problems. It's not important for you to know what that particular math problem is.
Wait, no, please. I'm gonna refill it. Please. Can I get it back at the end of the day? Oh, is it laying in the trash can?
You are so strong. That's 100% Blaze too. 'Cause, like, you just crushed that watermelon.
You're a bully.
even if you become a teacher, there are going to be challenges you have to overcome. And so you have to learn how to overcome these challenges. What math problems are is a challenge. It's not important necessarily for you to understand how factoring works or to understand the Pythagorean theorem. What's important is how do you apply it? Let's back up. Those of you who play sports of any kind, before you play in a game, you have to go and have practice. A lot of what you do at practice doesn't actually show up in the sport. If you play football, at practice, they're going to have you run laps. They're going to have you do push-ups, whatever it may be. In an actual game, you're not running laps, you're not doing push-ups, but that was a skill that's going to help you when you actually play the game. That's how I see school. That's how I see math problems or me giving you grammar problems. These are challenges that we want you to be able to overcome and rise up. Some people are good at confronting those challenges and rising above them. Other people are not so good at rising up above those challenges. I'm going to go ahead and have you sit down so I can stop charging you points because you're trying to be distracted. You think so?
He's doing it too.
Yeah, but he wasn't sitting up as much and getting caught, so you don't know how it works. That's how it comes.
Yeah.
So the way I see homework and tests or whatever it may be is just you getting better at a sport of some kind. So my goal is to try and make you guys the best version of yourself that's possible. I also think that a lot of what junior high is about is you becoming the best version of you, or figuring out who you want to be. Junior high, this age, is about figuring out what your personality is. I think that's a huge part of 7th and 8th grade, is you figuring out, are you the smart kid? Are you the athletic kid? Are you the class clown? Are you the kid that pays attention? Are you the kid that goofs off? Whatever it may be, this is the time when kids are figuring that out. And I think that becomes a struggle for a lot of teachers when they try to stop kids from figuring out personalities. I see my job as not stopping you figuring out your personalities, but to help guide you to get to a stronger personality. From talking to my students in the past, it seems to be that part of what my class does is help kids figure out their personality in a safe way. I think I've picked up on, and from conversations with kids, that sometimes kids act and behave differently in my room than they do in other classes. And that you sometimes present a different version of you in my room than you do in other classes. And it used to bother me, and it used to frustrate me, because I would talk to other teachers and they would say, like, yeah, that kid doesn't behave that way in my class at all. And I was like, why does it happen in mine? So when those kids would come back and talk to me, I was like, why were you a pain in my butt? Like, why did you make me want to strangle you? And a lot of it came up was kids felt safe being able to do those things in my room because I don't hate people. You can do a thing in my room and you can make poor choices and you can know at the end of the day, I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to necessarily try and destroy you for it. I think that's a thing that should happen a lot more with teachers, but not every teacher is like me. What I want you guys to take away from all this, and what I worry about with you guys, is I see a lot more laziness, and it's scaring me. With me trying to make you guys better versions of yourself, I think your guys' generation feels overwhelmed with a lot of things going on in life, where you guys are way more intelligent than adults give you credit for. And you guys are way more aware of what's happening in the world, and it also depresses you and gives you anxiety. And I think that sometimes trickles down into not wanting to do anything, which comes out as laziness, and it comes out as irresponsibility at times. This is what scares me. There are people who want to lie and manipulate. It's what they base their lives on. The dumber people are, the easier you are to control. And the more that your generation begins to embrace laziness or embraces not thinking, the easier it is for you guys to be manipulated by people who are evil in some way. And that's what I'm trying to fight in my room. I'm trying to find ways to fight future you being manipulated by evil, awful people in the world. A lot of how I run my room is based on teaching you guys responsibility. I hold,
Oh my god, Ross, you always have to make a distraction in class.
and yet she's not the one that was talking. And so a lot of it is teaching you guys responsibility. In this room especially, you guys are in a room of smart kids with strong personalities. And so it's interesting as I talk to like Mrs. Butts quite a bit, whether it be about we the people, our choosing students of the year, our thoughts on kids in general, and oftentimes she will bring up kids that are in this room who are leaders in her class, in her room. But in my room, I'm like, that kid's mute, never talks at all, and is completely quiet, which shocks her because she sees a different version of you than I do. And I find that interesting that you guys sometimes hide your personalities when I don't think you should. One of the things I pride myself on is not hiding my personality. I very much embrace who I am, and I don't let the opinions of others ever shut me down. It's one of those things that I want you guys to pick up from me moving forward. I do have talks coming up, like starting next week, where I will tell 3 different stories about me getting arrested at different points in my life. I've been arrested 3 times. Once in elementary school, once in high school, once in college.
Like in jail.
How are you a teacher?
That's what we have to say.
Exactly.
So, and that part of it, what goes into it is I realize a lot of you guys, when you see this, it's hard to imagine what this was like at your age. And I grew up in a family that had drug abuse and alcohol abuse and abuse, and I had to either be broken by those things or rise above those things. And so that's sort of that thing I try to connect with kids is a lot of people think that when you make a mistake, your world is done. When you make a horrible choice, that everything ends. That's why I tell you guys these stories at the end of the year, is that I want you to understand that you can screw up and make poor choices, and it doesn't necessarily define who you are. Every time I made one of those poor choices, I thought it was the end of my world, and it wasn't. I was still able to become the person that I am today. So that's why I tell you those stories. It's why, to tell you the truth, I didn't think I'd ever be able to become a teacher because of my past. I didn't think I would become a good teacher because of my past. But I think that's what I've become. And so, at least the teacher part, I think I'm a decent teacher. And so that's part of what we go down. My room, and what I want you guys to take from it, is that learning of responsibility. It's the biggest thing I want you to take from my room. From talking to past kids, I know you guys aren't going to remember every little thing in my room. I feel lucky if you guys at the end of the year come back next year and remember a short story we did. If you remember a poem we did. Typically, kids remember most of my Greek mythology unit. Sometimes they'll remember some of the books that we read, and it doesn't bother me. Because I think what you take from my room is way more than just grammar or English knowledge. But I want that for your other classes also. I don't want you to finish math and just take from it that you know how to do a theorem or how to solve a problem. I want you guys to be stronger as a person. And I don't know how to fight the laziness sometimes. What bothers me is when I have, like, the book, The Princess Bride. It is a big book. Absolutely. I know it's a big book. But I tried to find one that I didn't think was hard to read. I have options. And the way I look at it is, end of the year, to get you ready for 8th grade, I could give you a shorter book, but make it really difficult and challenging, where you have to sort of read each part of it multiple times over and over again to grasp what's in there. Or I could give you a longer book that's easier to read, but then you have to be able to comprehend all the stuff that's in there. And I used to do a shorter but much, much tougher book. Not one that you would think. It's called Alice in Wonderland, which you might think of as a little kid's book.
It's like a fever dream.
It is. And when you read it, you have to realize it was written by a master mathematician. And it has puzzle upon thinking puzzle throughout the entire thing. And it took us longer to get through it than it takes us to get through Princess Bride, because we had to reread so many sections of it for kids to grasp it. And then I ended up switching to Princess Bride, which I think is an easier read, but it's a longer read. This is my way of challenging you, is by giving you a book like this that I think is interesting, but is definitely long. And not giving you a real long time to do it is on purpose, because this becomes that challenge to you. I'm under the impression that some of you like me, at least as a teacher on some level. And so part of that comes with you put faith into what I'm trying to teach you, or faith into how I'm trying to make you a better person. This book is part of that process. Yes, absolutely, there's a movie. There's a great movie. If all you do is watch the movie and don't read the book, are you still going to pass the test?
No.
Probably. I'll be honest with you, because it's hard not to. It's probably still, pass it, yes. Get an A, possibly, because, honestly, some of you are smart. Some of you are really smart. Some of you could probably not read the book and not watch the movie, but you know how I write tests by now, and you could probably problem solve your way through it. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But you're not robbing me. Honestly, I don't care about the test. What I care about is your ability to read this book and be able to finish it as a challenge to yourself. I would rather you finish this book, take all next week to read it, get a B, and know you did it, as opposed to not reading it and then just taking the test and getting an A. That would mean much less to me. I don't mean to offend you, but I don't care about your grades. They're not important to me. I know that they're important to you guys, but at the end of the day, that's not how I judge you. I don't judge you on your grades. I judge you on what you show me of you as a person. Whether it's reading, whether it's accepting a challenge, whether it's embracing who you are as a person, that's way more important to me. I'm hoping how I've run my room this year has worked to that goal. I have changed how I teach over the years a lot, and almost all of it is because of kids. I take advice and opinions you give me seriously, and I implement them into how I run my room. I believe you guys are the best people to give me advice on how I should run my room. And honestly, I don't listen to admin. I don't listen to other teachers. I think you guys are the best people to help guide me. Beginning of the year you, no. End of the year you, absolutely. 8th grade you, definitely. Coming back to talk to me in high school you, absolutely. Because as you get smarter and as you figure out more of who you are smart. You know what kind of person you want to be, and you will give me the advice on how I make my room better. It's why in my room now I focus more on trying to teach you responsibility than anything else. Given, I know Julian is distracting at times. But what it is, Julian's not a bad person. He has goodness in his heart.
No, you tell me to go back to Kenya every day.
So,
You told me to go back to India every day.
Only because you told me to go back to
and so that's part of it. And so it's why when you guys yell something like kick somebody out of the room, my goal is I only do that in extreme cases if I don't think it's a thing I can handle. Or if I think that there is, which happens seldomly, maliciousness or evil in someone's heart. I think a lot of what you guys do is just figuring out who you are and figuring out how to fit into a classroom. A lot of it is responsibility. I had a kid in first period ask me if I hate any kids this year. And the answer is no. No, actually, Littrell was a kid that his counselor was in that class, and
Yeah, he was
Littrell
my
was,
neighborhood.
Littrell was the same way. He, again, was not evil. Littrell was the kid that was full of energy and was that kid that was still trying to figure out who he was. A lot of 7th grade is kids figuring out who they are. And me correcting you with anger and hatred, I don't think helps you figure out who you are. So I try to redirect you, whether it is talking during class, or whether it is being a distraction with something you're doing, or not reading. Me yelling at you, I don't think helps make you a better person. I don't think negativity and anger helps shape a person the right way. I don't know if you guys were in classes where Mrs. Bliss talked about it, but she mentioned the fact that I'm Buddhist. And part of my background being Buddhism is that hatred doesn't play a role in it. We simply don't believe in hatred. I don't hate kids. I've not hated a kid in 15, 20 years. And since I've started figuring out who I am, I do get frustrated with kids. I'm human. That happens a lot. But what I try to do is understand why a kid does what they do. When I have kids who are mean to other kids in my class, that's what bothers me. I don't do well with racism. I don't do well with hatred. I don't do well with bullying. That's what bothers me. But at the same time, when those things happen, every time that I have had to talk to a kid, it's because something's going on at home. Hatred creates hatred. Evil creates evil. People who are awful at other people is because there's a reason behind it. I can't hate a kid because they're suffering something at home. 13-year-olds are too young to understand how to handle bad home lives. And I have students with bad home lives. And if they have a bad home life and they come to my room and I treat them with anger and hatred, that's not making them a better person. So that's why I don't react that way. That's why I don't hate anybody. Derby?
I've always gotten told that hurt people hurt people.
And it's very true. And it's a thing that took me way longer than I was not a teenager when I learned that. It honestly wasn't until I was a teacher. A lot of what I try to teach you guys and pass along to you is not stuff I knew at your age. It's more stuff I wished I knew at your age. But I didn't have an adult who would ever tell me those things. And for me, it wasn't until I became a teacher. And I had kids I thought I hated. And I had kids my first several years that, I hated. But then the problem was, they came back to talk to me as 8th graders. And they came back to talk to me as high school kids, which surprised me, because I thought they hated me as much as I hated them. And then they came back and talked to me, and I found out why they did the things they did, and I couldn't hate them anymore. And every time I hated a kid and ended up getting to know them, I would find out why they did a thing, and I realized that it didn't ever help me to hate somebody. Now, at your age, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not advice I expect to give you and have it immediately change your life, as much as I didn't want to continue not talking to you guys. I don't know if we had the conversation in here that all of last year around this time that we were told that you guys were the worst group of kids that was ever going to be coming in here.
Yeah.
And it's not. You guys were one of my favorite years of teaching. I've absolutely enjoyed this year. I did not expect to be in my mental headspace that I am now last year when we kept hearing about you guys coming in. And for me personally, it was a growing moment because it was again that whole listening to other people tell me how I should feel. And a lot of it was your guys' 6th grade teachers was being passed up to us.
When I catch Mrs. Thompson.
It's probably
Oh
Mrs.
my
Thompson.
God.
It's not Mrs. Renfro. It's probably Mrs. Thompson.
Now,
When I
That's crazy.
along those same lines, I've also had a number of kids this year tell me that their teachers weren't wrong to hate them last year because of how they behaved in classes. And I realized that you guys also this year don't behave like you did last year. And that we don't necessarily have those same issues. And so that's partly what I want to pass along to you guys. So here are, and I apologize, I talked way longer than I thought, but questions I have for you guys are things like this. Does this talk today have meaning for you?
Yes,
Like
it was inspirational.
Is it like,
Stop putting shut up, bro. I'm free to speak.
and part of it is, again, I try to see the good in everybody, and I think a lot of you guys struggle with figuring out that responsibility. Whether, again, it's when to speak or when not to speak, when to be a distraction versus when not to be a distraction. And I know a lot of teachers would yell at you for that, but again, I think it's part of you guys figuring out who you should be. Even when you're yelling across my room at each other,
Excuse me.
you're excused.
Adios, bye.
And so that is the part where you guys are still figuring things out. If there are ideas you guys have, whether it's a thing you want to tell me in person, or send me an email, or remind, or come back and talk to me next year or the year after, I'm always happy to listen to advice. I'm always happy to take in what you guys tell me, whether it's what you guys find important or what it is you guys think I should do to make my room better. I know it doesn't necessarily impact you, but it impacts next year's kids. But realize it was the kids who came before you that made me who I am for you this year. And I want, as much as I want to make you guys the best version of you, I want you to make me the best version of me, if that makes sense. And I need your help to do that. Anyway. Next week, after the test, I will tell you guys the story about the first time I got arrested, which was when I was in elementary school. And then Thursday, I will tell you about when I got arrested in my freshman year of high school. And then Friday, I will tell you when I got arrested my freshman year of college. And then we still have Tuesday, Wednesday of the week after that. If you've heard kids talk about my stories, it's the one on Tuesday. That following week is the one where it's not a story. It's like today, but I'm going to tell you about my past. And I get to sort of open up to you way more than today is. And then the last day on that Wednesday, I get to tell you about the one time I got into an actual fist fight in junior high, and I get to tell you what happened for it, and I walk you guys through the whole thing, and it's a fun little story, and it's how we get to end the last day trying to make you smile.
I know what happened.
Me too, I was there. Hi, Reed.
So, like, did you go to jail? Like, actually go in?
You have to wait till next week.
Arrested is in like handcuffs or like in like actual.
Did you win?
You have to wait till next week.
Did you win?
This
You have to wait till that 2 weeks.
I want Mr. Brovicast.
Wait.
I know.
You got the wrestling skills,
So-
the jack skills.
If you really can't wait, I record all of my classes. If you feel like digging deep enough,
Nah, I want you to tell me.
you're more than welcome to. You just don't get the live version of it. But yeah, I've had kids this year who have gone back and tracked down my past ones and watched them.
Did you
So-
it was like, I was bored, so like, I wanted to watch it because like you're entertaining, and I was eating some food.
Just class.
But like when you're talking about like will you post that?
It is, and it's one of the things that no other teacher will do. But I'm, as I said, very happy with who I am. Yeah.
Did you play Darius' dance?
You'll have to wait to find out.
Mr. Brooklyn wants definitely has
He definitely did.